how much money has ARK actually made? Now back in the day, we used to be able to actually see the charts about how much that games made, but because of a lawsuit that happened with Steam, you can no longer see how much that games truly have made. Now there are estimates out there and there are calculators that will try to get it right, but they're always wrong, and that's the sad thing about that. So these calculators usually can determine it based off of a few factors, one being how many online profiles were made, but that doesn't include, you know, the people that are like playing single player and stuff. That's the biggest problem there. Now, according to one of these sites, and I'm going to also be doing a little bit of math on it, the game has sold 2.1 million copies. That's the estimate. It's 1.4 million to 2.8 million, but that is the estimate for Ark Survival Ascended. After this, I'm going to also go over Ark Survival Evolved because those numbers are insane. But yeah, now what it estimates is that it made close to $75 million just from the copies of Ark Survival Ascended alone, not including all the DLCs, mods, I don't know what else, just tons of other stuff, but that is just from the base game alone. Now, I still think that this is wrong. I feel like it's more closer to $200 to $300 million, just because it's not right and it's always going to be a little bit lower. Now, if we go to Steam and we look up Ark Survival, and we go ahead and click on the reviews, it has 75,000 reviews, which is pretty, I mean, that's pretty average for a game. Now, if we do the math on this, so 75,000 reviews times 0.002, sorry, not times, divided by 0.002, this kind of gives us an estimate of, you know, because I believe it's around 10 times the amount of sales in a way. I don't know, it's a little complicated, but you get 3.75 million. So that is 3.75 million copies sold of ARK. It's a little complicated for how this works. I have ChatGPT. I had it kind of help me out with a estimate of a 5% review to sale ratio, which I believe is undervaluing it. That should probably be higher, more like 10-15%. But yeah, I just did it based off the two, and 3.75 million copies. Now you do that times, I don't know what the, okay, so here's the hard part. ARK's price changes so much that it is too hard to tell what, you know, people are actually buying it at. Now, Ark Survival Ascended is constantly on sale for roughly 50% off. I mean, you can see this here, 50%, 50%. That's their average price. So let's go ahead and cut it in half and do 25% off. No, I don't know actually. It's a little harder to do because at start, the game was not on sale. I don't know, it's gonna be complicated. So let's just say that it was 25% off just to kind of keep it in the middle, keep it fair for both sides. So if we do 45 times 0.5, you get 22.5, which is half, and that does match the 22.5 at 50% off. Now, if you do that times, what was it? 3.75 million, 3.75 million, you get $84,375,000, which is pretty accurate at 75 million. And it says that it's within that range. Around 75 to $84 million is what they're estimating, and my estimated was 84 million. So that's pretty on point right there with sales. Now, while I may not be accurate about the total sales, one thing I can be accurate about is how stressful these numbers probably make you feel, which is why Mitra 9 is here to help. Mitra 9 is a non-alcoholic supplement that quite literally makes you feel good. These drinks give you a high, but without the impairment. They have a ton of great flavors, my favorite being root beer. If you're looking for a new drink to replace your coffee in the morning, Mitra is the way to go. Simply go to mitra9.com and use my code OUTCAST for 25% off your entire order. Now, back to the video. Now, this is just the base game, guys. This is not including all of the DLCs. Now, it says here that there's a total amount of players, which is 2.2 million. This is online profiles that were created, not including actual people that are, you know, playing single player and all that kind of stuff. So this is not accurate. It's probably more like 4 to 5 million, or even potentially 10 million, because you have to also keep this in mind. This is only Steam. This is not including console at all. There's no console sales included in here. There is no way to determine console sales, and that's the problem with this. That is the biggest problem. Console is always going to be bigger than PC, so I'm going to estimate, I don't know, this is really rough here. Like, this is a little rough. Between Xbox and PlayStation, they're going to be about the same. Xbox might be a little bit more just because of Game Pass. Oh no, because PlayStation also has Game Pass too. That's another factor to bring in here. I'll do that in a minute. Now, just from sales alone, let's go ahead and say that, I don't know, because it's so hard to estimate this because console is always bigger. Let's say console sold, oh, I don't know, 3 times. Yeah, okay, so let's say console sold 3 times the amount of sales, and that's pushing it. Actually, no, I'll do 2 times just to be fair. 2 times, which is $168 million. So you got $168 million times 2 for, you know, PlayStation and console. That plus 84, I forget, it was like 7.4 something. $422 million, I believe. I wish that they put commas in here. I can't read numbers. Yeah, $422,250,000 just from ARK alone. This is not even including Game Pass numbers. Game Pass numbers are impossible to calculate, but the average player is, oh, I don't know, spending roughly, I don't know. It's like $10 a month or something for the Game Passes. I don't know how much the PlayStation one is, around the same price probably. And if they play other games, ARK isn't going to take that full cut. I forget how much it is, but let's look it up. Okay, so I was actually wrong. They receive a lump sum payment from Microsoft or PlayStation just to have their game on there. They're not getting paid monthly. I thought that they were getting paid monthly on there. Okay, actually, they technically could be getting a subscription revenue, but I don't know. It's too hard to tell with this. So I might leave this out of the video, but just because I don't know here. I really don't know. Yeah, it's just too hard to tell here. So I might have to just leave Game Pass and PlayStation Pass out of the video, but that didn't really bring in too many people anyways. I think it brought in a couple 100,000 people probably. So let's say that they signed deals for, oh, I don't know, $5 million. So 5 million and then another 5 million. So that's really underballing it. It's probably a lot higher than that, but ARK right now was not in its full prime, so technically it's not going to be that high. But you also have to keep in mind that there's DLCs. And we're already at $432 million. This is going to be wrong, so just keep that in mind. It is wrong, but it's probably not that far off. Now keep in mind that all these services take a cut. Steam takes a 30% cut, Xbox also takes a 30% cut, and PlayStation also takes a 30% cut. So we can go ahead. So we need to go ahead and times this by 0.3, which takes away that much, which is a good chunk. That is a good chunk right there. So we do 432 minus 129 million, and you get 302 million. So that's just from cuts alone. That's $302 million right there, just from the base game. That's all. That could be including Game Pass. I really don't know those numbers though, and I really wish that they could just make these numbers accurate. It just sucks, but $302 million just from Ascended so far. Now, believe it or not, this is not where ARK makes all of their money. All of their money comes from something else, and it is not the base game. Now we have other stuff like DLCs. So if we go to the DLCs here, this has an experimental section here for the DLCs. You have ARK Lost Colony. Now it shows all the prices over here in the corner, and this is hard to calculate as well. But sitting at $30, it has roughly, how many reviews did it have? 251. So if you do the calculations right here, 251 divided by 0.02, the same math that we did, they sold 12,000. This is most likely wrong, so let's do this times 3 just for consoles. So times 3, 37,000 copies of pre-orders for Lost Colony, and this just came out, so I kind of believe it. Now you do that times 30, which was the price. There was no sale on this, and you get $1.1 million. So that's another $1.1 million right there, added just for Lost Colony. Now we can go back, and now we got Bob's Tall Tales. This is a lot bigger, by the way. There's a lot more people who have bought this. 1.1K for the reviews here. So we do the same math, and you do and you divide it by 0.02 again. You get 55,000 copies sold, times 3 with console and all that. 165,000 copies, sitting at $30, $4.9 million right here, which is technically probably right. I still feel like more people bought it just because there are a lot of people on ARK, but I think it's pretty close. Then we have Astraeos, which was a pretty pricey map, by the way. 490 reviews, and this might be right because this map is not finished, and I don't think it really got that many people. I mean, it definitely profited quite a bit, but I don't think it got that many. So we're sitting at 73,000 sales. You do that times, what was it, 15? Yeah, $15 for the map, $1.1 million. Not bad. You probably made a lot more though. So, the Dreadmare. Here we go now. Dreadmare, I don't think got too many sales. I mean, it's sitting at $5 at 225. So, I mean, we'll do it. Times 3. So, then we do this, divided by 0.02 again. 11,000 copies. I believe that. It's probably a little more than that, but not entirely wrong. Times 3 for console. 330, and that's 33,000 copies sold. Times $5, $168,000. I kind of believe that. And then we have many others to also still cover in here. Now this is page 2, which has the Pyromane. This sold a lot. I know for a fact that this one sold. So 765, is that right? Yeah. So 765 divided by 0.02 times 3, 114,000 copies. I would not be shocked. Sitting at $5, $573,000. Then you have Extinction and Aberration. Now the problem with these is that they were free maps, so they fall under Bob's Tall Tales. Same with the Center, Scorched Earth, and Ragnarok. They all fall under Bob's Tall Tales, so I'll kind of keep that out. So that's it for DLCs alone. Now let's go into the game and talk about the mods section, because the mods section has made a lot more than you think. So you go over here and they have paid mods, which I'm not completely opposed to because, you know, some of these mods are very expensive to make. So I do agree that some should cost money, but not all of these. Now the most bought mod has 8.6 million copies sold, sitting at $5. Now this does not include sales, but I'll just do the average price, which is $5. And not to mention, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of these mods just right here that have sold well into the millions. And there are 10 full pages of mods. I'm probably not going to calculate all of it, but I'm just going to calculate it on my phone so I can try to do this a little quicker for you guys. All right, so the phone should be up here right now. So first up, we have Quantum Structures mod, 8.6 million copies sold, sitting at $5, $43 million. But now you guys might be thinking, oh, well, that's what the player makes, right? Wrong. The player only takes home about 50% of the money. ARK takes a 50% cut, which does suck. But keep in mind, an ARK mod, a player who made an ARK mod just made $21 million off of a mod for ARK. Is that crazy? Is that crazy or what, guys? That's insane. Okay, anyways, so if we go ahead and divide this by 2, cuts it straight in half, $21,500,000 goes to ARK. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do the math on all 10 of these. I showed you the math for the first one. Now I'm just gonna do it for all 10 because it's gonna be a bit of a boring video just to kind of look at numbers here. But yeah, so let's do that really quick. Okay, so I just added all of it up. It will be on screen now for my phone screen. This is the total. $127,174,000 $127,174,000 just from these 10 mods alone. Sorry, from these 10 mods alone, that is just from these 10 mods, the Pyromane, the Dreadmare, Astraeos, Bob's Tall Tales, and Lost Colony. $127 million. And that's including the cuts. That's including all this stuff. Now, if you add this in with the $302 million, 575,000. Now, if you add this in with the 302 million, 575,000, you get $429,749,000 from ARK Survival Ascended. So when they sit here and tell you that they're struggling, or they can't do this, they can't do that because of money, and they have to charge extra money for the Pyromane or the new Dino, just know they made nearly $500 million off of this game. And that was just the first 10 mods, by the way, guys. That was just the first 10. I'm not even including the other 10 other lists of paid mods. $429 million. Do you realize how much money that actually is? Paying staff, paying for, publishing rights, paying for rights for a game, maintaining servers, maintaining all this. How are you guys out of money? Simple as that. I really don't understand at all. And this game just came out, by the way, too. It still is a pretty fresh game, and you already made that much money. So yeah, that should really tell you something. Now, I'm not going to cover ARK Survival Evolved in this video. I was originally going to, but because of time, and this video is already pretty long, I'm going to do that as a separate video. But oh my god. So when they tell you that they have to use another paid dino because they got to help, support servers, no, they don't. They're greedy, and they just want your money. Simple as that. $429 million. Just let that sink in real quick. But yeah. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Figured that I would go over this video. This was a pretty important one on my list. I wanted to actually do the math on this and truly see how much ARK actually has made. But yeah, ARK Survival Evolved is probably a lot more, but we'll cover that in a different video because that is a whole nother just huge video alone. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. I know I'm gonna be off slightly with my numbers. It's probably like 400 million, but I don't know. I tried to counter in all the fees and all the other stuff. But yeah, anyways, thanks for watching.